So who could the Oakland Raiders be trading in this offseason? We'll get to that in a matter of moments, but first, a word from our friends at Man Crates.
Man Crates, awesome gifts for men in real wooden crates, wrapped in a cocoon of duct tape, or housed in ammo cans that are virtually indestructible. Some gifts he'll get to assemble himself. Some gifts you'll beg him to share. And some gifts are sealed inside layers of rock-solid concrete. Gifts guys love, from grilling gear to old-school video games and more. Man Crates, awesome gifts for men.
All right, Tom, we got two names to go through. We'll start off with the lesser name.
Raiders fans have been mad at me this offseason, so I'm trying to make it up to you guys by talking a little bit more about you, giving you guys two different potential players here. We'll start Seth Roberts. This is the one that the Raiders want to trade. The Raiders would take, I think, a used bag of peanuts right now for Seth. They have been shopping him since before the draft. They don't want him on the roster, but the issue is, who's going to take on the $4.4 million salary?
Yeah.
No one wants him. So right now, Roberts is the fifth guy. Cooper, Nelson, Bryant, Switzer. Fun fact, when Seth Roberts scores, the Raiders are undefeated.
Oh, my God.
Now,
and
maybe
that has happened twice.
Now, is that, it's happened more twice. Is that because, A, the Raiders win because Seth Roberts plays well, or is it because Seth Roberts plays well because the Raiders have already won a game?
I think it's just a lack of sample size, Tom, to be honest with you.
Exactly. So you got guys like Dwayne Harris, Johnny Holt, and Marcel Aitman who are going to compete for special teams roles there. So I found more or less the team with the most salary cap space.
You really tried on this one, Tom. I give you credit here.
A future seventh-round pick.
Yeah, 2020 to the Oakland Raiders, and the Cleveland Browns get Seth Roberts.
Maybe if Jarvis Landry gets hurt. How about that?
Maybe.
I really don't think the Raiders will find a taker for Seth Roberts because I just don't think a team wants his contract right now.
I like the depth chart for Cleveland as we stand. I like Gordon a lot. Jarvis Landry speaks for himself. Corey Coleman, when he gets a chance, he's a good receiver. Callaway, we'll see what he can do in the NFL. And then these are just kind of reserves guys as well. So for Cleveland, they don't necessarily have to do this, Tom. Now, if they do deal Corey Coleman, maybe they trade and try to get Seth Roberts shortly after. Now, for Oakland, I think the wide receiver depth chart is an interesting one because they've been active this offseason in terms of trades, getting Martavis Bryant,
they've been
getting Ryan
really
Switzer.
aggressive.
So what is us to say that they won't just make another trade again?
The interest in the player itself.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
There you go. So I think the Browns say no in this scenario.
All right, name number 2 for the Oakland Raiders. This I could see happening. Donald Penn on the move. Insert Kolton Miller, your first-round pick.
You have mentioned this in the past on your own show, on the Cam Rogers show, that you think Donald Penn could be traded. And you think about it from the Raiders' perspective, Donald Penn doesn't seem to be the happiest guy the past year or so in Oakland. He wanted a new contract. He did get that. He was really upset when they drafted Kolton Miller, which on one hand I get because that's your job. On the other hand, dude, you're 35 years old. You can't play forever.
You just have to have some perspective when you're Donald Penn.
So for the Raiders, Miller, Sharp, Parker, I think those guys are locked in as their top 3 tackles. Parker is very much a raw developmental type guy. That leaves Donald Penn, Vidal Alexander, Brino Giacomoni, who's bad, and
he's just not good.
Jalen Ware as other options. You could get some value for Donald Penn, but I think it's very much dependent, Cam, on seeing, most importantly, Kolton Miller being a reliable option for you at tackle. If Kolton Miller isn't there yet, you can't do that trade. You just can't do it.
Now, philosophical question, should the Raiders move on from Donald Penn because he is a very much polarizing topic within Raider Nation? So
if Kolton Miller is ready, yes, because you can get value back for an older player, save some money. If Miller needs a year, you can't do it because I don't think you want to set up Derek Carr for that situation.
All right, we talked about the Houston Texans earlier. They need help on the offensive line. Dwayne Brown is no longer there. Left tackle is a big-time liability. Here comes Donald.
I think Donald Penn is the perfect fit for Houston right now. You could talk me into a third-round pick if you want to. That's why I made it a conditional 4th.
Yep.
Because Julién Davenport could be your starting left tackle. He was raw coming out. I think he needs at least another year. You can get by with Henderson at right tackle. Martinez Rankin, I think, is more of a right tackle guard prospect, but maybe you try and make him into a left tackle. Even the Browns didn't want Roderick Johnson. That should tell you how bad they are at tackle. Lamb is a former tight end. They got a kid from Pitt, Jared Jones-Smith, I think is his name, who's even more raw than the other guys on the roster. So, and I think you made note of this earlier, Cam. Houston is trying to win right now. Donald Penn helps that. They have the cap space to do it right now, and you can still develop a younger guy like a Julién Davenport.
All right, so who says no to the Donald Penn deal for a 4th rounder? Let us know in the reaction poll.
Victor says send Penn to the Broncos. A, I don't think
yeah.
Oakland would do an interdivisional trade. B, they really like the Garrett Bowles at left tackle right now.